What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
Brilliance. That's all I can say. Sheer, unadulterated brilliance.
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, what do I say? What do I say? Head over to DJLittleRock.com and maybe you can have little old me at your event. Oh, hopefully in the central Arkansas area. But if not, I'll go beyond. I've been to Mena. I've been out, further away. Harrison. Shoot, I'll go as far as you need me to go. I'm sure I'm negotiable. All right. My shows this week, Thursday night, I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas for the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. And on Friday night, I'll be back at the Rab. Oh, yeah. It's 8 o'clock, and that's the regular karaoke video dance party show. And why am I cutting the promo of myself short? Because I have Jason Penna music all the way from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. I'm so excited to talk to him. I found him on the Instagram, and he seems like an interesting guy, and I want to know more about him. He looks very rugged, a little like a tough guy, but he's got such kind eyes, and I wonder more, but I know he's in Australia, so he's going to have that cool accent. And I know he's going to say, I don't have an accent. You have an accent. That's what I imagine. I imagine because, I have an accent in his point of view. So you have to see it from other people's point of view as well. So without further ado, let's get into it with Jason Penna music. Oh, and this is a Skype interview. This is the first time I've used Skype on an interview on What Makes You Famous on a conversation here. So let's Skype Jason Penna now. Hey, Jason Penna, please.
Yeah, that's me. How are you going?
Oh, it's so good. This is my first time on Skype using it for the podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Great.
All right. I'm starting to get the levels down here, and I think we're on our way. It's Keys Dan with the What Makes You Famous podcast. How's your day?
Great. Going awesome over here in Australia. We've got beautiful weather at the moment, so beautiful 22 degrees.
23 degrees. Now that would be Celsius because the rest of the world uses Celsius, and America seems to be or United States seems to be the only country in the whole world that's still holding out with Fahrenheit. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's it's a strange anomaly. I don't know why either, but yeah, it does confuse a lot of people, I guess, when you switch between the two.
Sure enough, I'm going to have to go ahead and get on the Google and do my conversion tables for temperature to make sure you're not freezing or you're not. Well, I guess it must be getting close to the winter time. Maybe fall, winter.
We are, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it is definitely cooler than usual, which is normally we have. I'm in South Queensland, so normally it's perfect one day and beautiful the next. So we often just have days of just beautiful sunshine and perfect weather. So but winter is coming on.
Well, I suppose I should introduce you, or you can introduce yourself, Jason Penna. Tell us what you do, Jason Penna, and where are you in the world?
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks so much for having me on the show and on the podcast. It's great that the world can reach out from across oceans these days and be so still connected and close to each other. But so I'm a musician based in Brisbane, Queensland. So I've been playing music for all my life, but I took a little bit of a different track where a lot of musicians, are able to, I guess, pursue their dreams early on in life and get their music out there. Whereas I sort of took a different road where I sort of, lived the normal life for many years and was able to, have a family and get settled and I guess do the 9 to 5, for a while, to a point where I said, okay, well, now I'm comfortable. I can pursue my dreams of getting my music out there and reaching the world. So, that's where I've come to now. So I'm currently releasing a single every week and, getting a really good response from everywhere. America, Australia, everyone seems to be catching on to it, which is awesome.
All right, Jason Penna. Well, all right. So you say that you haven't always been full-time in the music career. You had time to start a family. Well, tell us about your early days. How is school life in Queensland, if that's where you're from?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, from Queensland. I assume it's much the same as America. Other countries may not be so much so, but definitely, yeah. I mean, it's you do your primary school years, your secondary school, and as you're going through those secondary school years, most musicians get involved in bands and play music, which I absolutely did, and we did the garage band days and got into battle of the bands and got a little bit of exposure back in the in the later high school years, which was great. But then you seem to tend to leave school and you go, well, what am I going to do now with my life? And you fall into a job somewhere, and then all of a sudden you sort of, whether you like it or love it, you decide that that's where the direction will take you. So after the schooling years, I was a mechanic for a number of years, and ended up buying into the business where I was there, and was able to do reasonably well as a mechanic. But then passion took me into finance, and I got involved in the finance world, and was there for about 10 years, and then ultimately ended up buying another business, which is, you guys won't know this term in America, but it's called paraplanning, and it's quite it's not the most exciting job in the world, but we prepared documents for advisors, and that was the opportunity then to grow from a financial point of view, so that you set the family up and have a couple of kids, and then you decide, okay, well, now I've got the time, I can go back into my music and spread that across the world. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've had a lot of jobs throughout your young life, and I don't know exactly how old you are. When did you graduate high school?
So I'm 42 now. So grade 12. I don't remember what year that was, but it was a while ago now.
So I'm 50. So you're still just a youngin, a whippersnapper, a very young person. So besides music, in your high school days, did you have any other extracurricular activities? What kind of fun stuff do you do as a young man in school?
Yeah, well, I was very much always focused on music, so a lot of my activities revolved around playing music on weekends and sitting around and writing songs and talking about just, I guess, having fun as you do as a young whippersnapper. So I did a lot of that. One of my songs, Veil of Life, was written when I was 19, and it talks about the need for us to sometimes not be the person we are on the outside, on the inside, showing a different persona on the outside. So, we sometimes have our passions that we can't always, show as much as we want to or tell people about. So, that was a very, sort of, I guess, emotional song for me, back then, which we've revived and been able to re-release now, which is great. The high school years were very musical for me. So lots of band activities, gigs and jamming and hanging out with mates. So yeah.
Well, Jason Penna, you look like such a rugged man. I mean, you have a very kind face, and I'm not sure how else to put that, because I'm looking at some pictures on your Jason Penna music site and on your Facebook. And yes, ladies, you can find him on Facebook. And I'm not sure if they can look but don't touch, because we haven't got into the relationship yet, his status. but certainly we can do that if he wishes, and because it is your podcast, Jason Penna, and you can reveal anything you want and say anything you want. So being as rugged as you are, you look like a tough guy. You didn't play any sports at all when you were in school?
No, the odd football game on the weekend. We have rugby league over here, as opposed to the NRL in the States. So I don't know if you've seen a rugby league game, but we don't have as much padding on as the guys do in the NRL. We probably hit just as hard, but yeah, there's not as much protection there. So there's a fair bit of it's not a blood sport, but hey, it's no one generally leaves the field without some sort of injury most of the time.
Well, I'm not much of a sports guy myself, but I have watched rugby, and it's so fast. And yes, you're right about the pads. It seems like once they tackle the person with the ball, they go after his family in the stands. It's that kind of a game.
Absolutely,
it's the impression I get.
It is. You're absolutely right. There's no holds barred when it comes to rugby. And we have the match between two of our states here, which is Queensland and New South Wales, called the State of Origin, and that takes it up another notch. So you have your season of matches, but then when the State of Origin comes to play, they're taking the best of each state and matching them up against each other, and it's literally just hit as hard as you can, and they're really great matches. They only play 3 games. They're that intense, so they only ever get 3 games in for each year. Mm.
Wow! All right. Well, as you're going through as a young lad, what was the first musical instrument that you picked up, and how young were you at that time?
Yeah. So definitely, I guess that the music started when my mother was a country singer in Australia, and toured Vietnam with her singing and her band and things like that. So from a very young age, we were exposed to a lot of music, and she judges a lot of country music festivals over here in Australia. Retired now, but for many years was very active in the music scene. So we were exposed to, I guess, a lot of music from a young age. So we would sit and watch her rehearse and go and watch her sing on the weekends. And so I picked up the guitar probably at the age of 15, I would say, and that was my first and only love from an instrument, I guess. But recently have been learning the piano and writing a few songs on piano, which has been a real a beautiful event. I've been able to translate, I guess, the ability to write music and songs on the guitar and put them on piano, and it opens up a whole new world of music writing, which you don't really realize until you sit down and take on another instrument and feel what can be done with that instrument. So whether that's piano, guitar, bass, drums, ukulele. So I play all of them. Obviously, as you do, you sort of have a go at all of them. But guitar is my first and only love, I guess, or first love. But so, and from then I just continued to play throughout my life and write songs as different events happen to me. And I think when it comes to music, a beautiful song or a great song is written from emotion, and that's where it stems from, whether it's fear or hate or love or passion, whatever that emotion is. If it's translated into a song, then that's what really inspires a beautiful and a great song. Yeah.
Well, Jason Penna, I'm hearing the passion in your voice about when you're talking about your music, and I'm looking at several pictures of you holding a guitar, and you just look so natural. It looks like it's your love, like you never want to put the guitar down. Are you an axe man for life? Even when you were a mechanic and when you were working with paperwork, did you still have the guitar like very close by?
Always in the same room. Yes, as much as possible. It's always around to be picked up, because you never know when that little bit of inspiration will hit you, and you've just got to say, "Oh, I've got to do that." And you find your phone is full of licks, guitar licks that you think of, and you're sitting there playing, and then all of a sudden you go, "Oh wow, that sounds like a really great lick," and you'll hit record on your phone. So being able to grab that inspiration. You know how they say you should always keep a pen and paper beside you at night, so when you wake up from a dream, or you can write it down. Well, it's the same with, I find it's the same with music. If you've got to capture that moment as it happens, otherwise it will come and go, and you might have missed a great bit of inspiration that will never come to you again.
Now, Jason Penna, you did mention that your mama was a country singer, now retired, but was she inspirational, or was she pretty famous in the Australia, in, I guess, Brisbane area, the Queensland area?
Yeah. Her stage name was Sharon Lee. She toured with her band through the Vietnam War, and has many stories of going into camps and helicopters getting shot at, and all of those just crazy events, obviously, that happened through that time. So she was on a little bit of TV. Never released an album or anything like that. So, but she's absolutely supporting me 100% now, and which is wonderful. And and gives me tips on improvement, because there's always places to go with improving. You never stop learning, that's for sure. So she's definitely was an inspiration in the early days, and still is. One of these songs that I've got coming out, relates to, our parents, our mothers, our fathers, and how they are so, instrumental in building us as people, and the people we turn into. So she's got a song written about her, as I find that's what inspires me sometimes. So whatever it is, I'll write a song about it. Every song's got meaning at some level, as most musicians find when they write. The song has to have a purpose in life, and that purpose is whatever it is. Saying thank you to your parents for being so supportive throughout the years.
Jason Penna, I fully believe that music is genetic. If you get it from one parent or both parents, and since you did mention your father, what did he do?
Yeah, so Dad had a few different careers, and you're right, absolutely, Dan. It comes from being around that all the time as a child, and so Dad did real estate for a while, owned a lot of different businesses as well. And he was really inspirational, I guess, in the getting me focused on having, supporting my family, before, and as much as, we all love to follow our dreams and say, okay, well, I want to give up everything and do this. I mean, that's amazing if you can do it. I just don't, I just never had the opportunity to say, well, I'm the best at being a musician, and I can follow my dream from day one. I took a different road where, I felt that it was important that I got established as a family and a person, and then was able to say, okay, well, now I can share my music with the world. So Dad brought that balance to my life, to help me achieve that, I guess. Yeah.
It seems like your father was a hard worker, and he did whatever he had to do to support his family, and he instilled that value into you. So what I'm hearing and what I'm guessing is you got married at a young age and started a family. How old were you when you got married?
No, absolutely right. I was 30. What was I? 31, I think, when we Amanda and I got married. And yes, I am still married, but and happily. So I do have two beautiful children. It's my wife is the love of my life, and she inspires me to be a better man each and every day. And she's enabled, and she's supported me to be able to do everything that I have done to date, and I've supported her as much as I can to get us to a point where we can all follow we can both follow our dreams. married at an early age and a couple of kids, and that's brought us to I guess the point now where 42. I can say, okay, well let's give my music a red hot crack.
That's cool, Jason Penna. Well, you're not quite as young as I thought you were when you got married, because it seems okay. I tell people, and I give this advice generally to everyone: spend your 20s doing whatever you want, find your passion, do the thing that makes you happiest, fall down on your face, because at that time, when you have no responsibilities, you can get up as many times as you can and just find the thing that makes you want to live. And I'm guessing, since you did get married at 31, that you spent your 20s, were you doing music in your 20s, or was this building a career at that time?
Yeah, always music. I always played music. I didn't play it in pubs or anything like that. But music was always there. But obviously, I did start buying the businesses and spending that looking after the financial side of life to get that right first, I guess. So that's the 20s were all about playing music with the mates and getting out there and working hard and having fun on the weekends, as you do, and just continuing to I guess build my life to a point where I could get stable. And from the 20s, I mean, you're young enough, you can make mistakes, and I made a lot of different sorts of mistakes, and they weren't bad. They were just different ways to look at life. And but yeah, it's you're 100% right. If you've got the drive from such an early age to know exactly that's what you're going to do and spend the rest of your life doing, and then you follow it with 100%. Yeah.
I like that. I like the way you think, and I like how your life has gone and how it's going. I mean, you're just okay. Yes, this American is very fascinated by your accent, and most of the people that are going to be listening to this podcast are here in the United States, and I'm sure there's going to be some ladies that are swooning, but they're going to be sad that you are unavailable. But no, the Australian accent is just fascinating to people over here. Mr. Jason Penna, Jason Penna Music. Look him up online for sure. So, what was your first taste of music on the stage with fans in front of you? What was your first performance in front of a live audience? Was it solo, or was it with one of the garage bands that you were talking about?
Yeah, the garage bands for sure. We entered a few Battle of the Bands is what we call them, and you probably could do the same over there. But where all your local acts get together, and we battle it off on stage to see who's the better act, and never won one of those prizes, but that's okay. I still got the experience of and then the joy of playing in front of people who love listening to live music, and so that was a real that was a great experience, and then obviously one I've tried to replicate as often as possible. So that was the first. But do you guys have a Battle of the Bands as such through your high school years over there in the States?
Oh, absolutely. We do have battles of the bands, competitions of all kinds. If you can do it, if it's a skill you have, you can probably form a competition in it. So yes, singing competitions, guitar compositions, battles, dueling banjos, and the like. So 15 years old, you pick up a guitar. Do you learn how to read music? Do you go to take classes? Or is this something that you pick up tabs? What do you do when you pick up a guitar? I have 3 guitars in my closet. I know 3 chords, and none can make a full song for sure. And I want to pick them up. My Ibanez is my favorite, and then I have the Squire, and then there's an Esteban, a classical guitar very similar to the one that you're holding on this Facebook cover. And I want to learn how to play them, but the time. And yes, if I really wanted to learn, I could find the time. So did you learn how to read music? Did you learn how to play through a school?
Yeah. so the School of Hard Knocks, picked up the guitar and just started learning my favourite songs, you know, and that involved, you know, getting tabs from your local music store, walking into the music store, looking at the tabs because I didn't have the money to buy the tab music. So you go in there and you remember the chords, you memorise the chord for the verse, the chorus. That's it. Okay, G D C D E. Okay, G D C D E. You memorise it. You go home, you play it, and it's like, damn, I forgot. You go back again. So very, very much a case of finding, you know, what song it is that you love the most, and picking up the guitar and learning it. And when you can't pick it up by ear, where you don't know the chord by ear, you go to the tab and you go, okay, well, that's how I do it. You memorize it and you sit down and you just keep going at it until you can play it. So and finding that time of the day, the week that you can replicate that and do it on a consistent basis, so that you do get better at it. I know what it's like. Sometimes, you know, the guitar does disappear for a period, and you go, well, why? You know, I want that back. I want that feeling back. I want to go back to being able to enjoy and sing and write and where is it? Why is my life taking a go back to it, you know. So it's a stable part of I guess my life anyway. So it always grounds me.
I think Bruce Springsteen wrote a song about it called Glory Days. They'll pass you by. So you always want that feeling you had in your best times, in the best times of your life. And for a lot of people, that's school or just after high school when you're a young man. So you're a young man of 15 years old in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. You pick up the guitar. What kind of music are you jamming to? Who's your favorite bands at that point?
Yeah. So Nirvana and the grunge scene influenced me a lot later, but in the early days it was the Bon Jovis, it was the Guns N' Roses, it was the Motley Crue, it was the glam rock days were absolutely sort of where I started. The Poisons, the Skid Rows, those sort of, you know, really obviously high level bands that everyone gets to listen to, you know, not so much always on the radio, but and then you go, wow, you know, how I remember sitting on a bus, because I was living in Townsville, and then I moved to Brisbane, but I used to travel on the bus from Townsville to Brisbane. And within that time, I can just remember listening to the Poison open up and say our album over and over. But I met a girl on the bus, and we just got to talking and chatting, and after that we became pen pals, and we communicated for a long time, and then there was about, you know, a year and a half later she decided to move to Brisbane, so, you know, we could be closer together, and but the relationship never evolved further from that. So, but that that inspired me to write a song, and probably one of my favourite songs, which I haven't yet released. But it's in the works for coming out probably next Saturday, not this Saturday coming, the Saturday after. But it inspired me to write that song and just talk about, you know, that brings you back to those music days and how that translates into real life and writing your own music, I guess, and where each song comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have people that come in and out of your life and inspire you to write certain things. And you never know who's going to be your muse, or even if it's a who, it could be a thing. Maybe it's a car. And I know you were a mechanic, but you listen to a lot of hair bands, is what we call them in the United States, and a lot of long hair, but they wore a lot of makeup. So around your young times, did you put a lot of makeup on and get on stage? I know they have a lot of pyrotechnics as well, but was that your thing? Was to dress up like them and be like them, or did you were you encouraged to do your own thing?
Yeah, no. I think I'm probably more of a country boy at heart. So as much as I enjoy the sound and the music and the shows, you know, the amazing live shows that the hair bands put on are a spectacle to see. But I'm probably a lot more down to earth in terms of I'm a country boy at heart. I love my I love my boots and I love my jeans and yeah, I've got long hair, but I'm just, yeah, as I guess natural and plain as you can be as a country boy. But so no pyrotechnics at this stage in my lineup.
Oh no, I in country boy, having long hair is not a disqualifier for being a country boy. You look like a rocker. You look like the rockabilly of Elvis's time and the like, and Jerry Lee Lewis and just you have the look, you have the style, and you play the licks. But the country, I think that once again, it's genetic. Your mama instilled those genes into your blood system, Jason Penna. I fully believe that.
Absolutely, Keith Dan. Yep, definitely. I think it definitely came from those very early days. Yeah.
Well, cool. And now you're in your 20s, and you're building your life and you're getting yourself stable. But are you still playing shows throughout your 20s? You said you were inspired by Nirvana by this time, probably in the 90s. So were you playing shows on the weekends, you said?
No, we never did a lot of show playing. We still had a lot of bands. We were generally in the garage most of the time, just writing tunes and playing and I guess living the music as opposed to getting it out there and showing it to the world. We're pretty much that's sort of where we spent most of our time, practicing our art, as they say, and developing a sound. So that's sort of what we did a lot back through those years, as well as working and dating and those sorts of things. Because I did meet my wife very early, so at 21. So I did meet her quite early on, so that was obviously a big part when you do find somebody that you that you love, you spend a lot of time with them, as well as music. You love your music and the people around you, so it's a compromise, isn't it?
Well, okay, this paints another picture. You're a very cautious man. You met her at 21. You built your career, and then you married her at 31. So you took a good 10 years to get yourself stable before you offered yourself to her, and that's a wonderful thing. That's good. That's stability right there. It's a good man. Good Jason Penna. Now, I said Penna like it's Spanish, and when I looked at your name at first, I thought you might have a little Spanish in the background. I have a little Spanish blood in me myself, so I wondered about that.
Great. America. No, it's Italian background. So
Italian.
Penna in Italian. Yeah, it means pen, which is to write. So,
yes.
That's the heritage there. So my nonno was Italian, but moved to America for a while, and then migrated to Australia. So yeah.
Oh, you were destined to write as well, write songs. So you spoke of we when you were playing in bands. Now, do you speak of we as the bands, or we as you and your siblings were inspired by your mother and father? Do you have siblings that play music as well?
Yeah, I've got a brother who used to play in the bands with me as well. So yeah, he was a part of the early music days. But obviously your mates, form the balance of the band. But definitely, I've got one brother who doesn't follow as much. He's still still involved with music, but is not sort of recording anything. But we still have a great yarn about music. Every time we get together, we always play, and he'll jump on the drums or jump on the guitar, and we'll play a few tunes together for sure.
Oh, it's nice to have that built into your family, that you have someone that you can play with, even from an early age, I'm guessing. So he plays drums and guitars? Hey, wait a minute. He one-upped you. Now, wait, you play ukulele too, right?
That's right.
All right. Okay, you're back to even.
Back to even.
Do you pick up any other instruments now that you're getting more into music? You got the piano as well. That's right. You're starting to write music on the piano, and once you have the piano down, from what I understand, and I have a piano. My 13-year-old daughter plays the piano very well, and I want to learn how to play it. Once again, I cannot find the time. But from what I understand, when you learn the piano, you pretty much have every instrument after that. As long as you can read music for a piano, the rest of it should be a little easier. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. It's definitely still on the. I'm still learning the intricacies of the art of the piano and keyboards, but I find it's a very I guess soulful is not the right word, but I find that I can write music on it that has a lot of depth to it, as you do with guitar as well. But I find the keys on a piano, just the resonance of having it just holding that note for a longer period enables you to express that sound more, express that emotion more, and that's been my experience to date with keyboards and writing songs with the piano. Yeah.
Oh, you're creating feelings and emotions, and you get inspirations. You got inspired by that young lady in your younger days. And what other things have inspired you to write different songs? I noticed there's a song called "Long Hard Road," and you're sitting on a car, and I say, okay, he was a mechanic. He knows about cars. He's singing about a long, hard road. What inspired you to write that?
Yeah. So long hard road was written about a house fire that happened here in Brisbane South Side, where 11 people tragically lost their lives. 8 of them were children, and three were adults, but of an extended family, all living in the same home, and it unfortunately couldn't get out in time. And when you hear of something like that, it just there's so many emotions that build up inside you, and the only way sometimes you can get those emotions out. There's all different ways you can get emotions out, but the only way I get emotions out is as I sit down and I write about it, and that comes out in music. So there's a couple of my other songs are about the same sorts of things. April Swell. There was a tragic event where a father and his daughter were washed off the shore on Easter Sunday here in Australia, and the wave just grabbed them and pulled them into the ocean, and they were gone. And a 5-year-old girl, life's just a life lost too short, and so it's sad, but hopefully the songs that I write will help to remember them, and their spirits will live on through the music. Yeah.
That's what a creator does is takes the stories of life, the tragedies, the happy times as well. But often the tragedies become they instill the most emotion in people, and that's what's helping you to create music. And yes, it's inspiring you to write, and you are going to help to preserve their memories as well. Now, do you mention them by name, or is it just a broad stroke on the events that happened?
It's a broad stroke, yeah. I haven't reached out to the people involved, or anything like that. So I don't want to, I don't know who they are personally, and I don't feel unless they reach out to me, and I would love to share and sit down with them and talk through each line of the songs, but I guess they're events that enable me to sort of help express the emotions that I feel, and hopefully they if they ever do listen to the songs and it touches them and helps them, then that's a beautiful thing. That would be ultimately where I would love for it to go. Yeah.
Well, Jason Penna, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Not to name them in the song, but certainly if you share it with them, or possibly get to know the people, it might help them. I mean, it may not. They might have a different emotion or a different idea about it. But wow, it's it's interesting where artists get their creative muse from, and I know I mentioned that before, but it's wow. Okay, so other now you're playing piano. No, are you in a band right now, Jason Penna, or is it primarily solo projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, so it's primarily a solo project. These are the songs that I'm releasing at the moment. So I've got a few guys here who are ready to go live, but at the moment I'm just recording, focusing on getting the songs recorded, and just getting them out there to the world to see what sort of response I do get from them. From an audience point of view, I mean, obviously I'll continue to write music, and that will be until I'll be an 80-year-old with long white hair at that stage, probably sitting on the veranda of an old shack up in the hills of Queensland hinterland. But I'm still writing and playing music. But until that time, it's I'll just write some tunes and share them with the world. And if people are enjoying it and want to continue listening to me, then that's great as well.
Oh, keep on playing forever and ever, as long as you got hands and a guitar with at least one string on it. So, but now you say you're recording music. Do you have studio musicians, or is this primarily music with a guitar only, just acoustic?
Yeah. Studio musicians, yeah. So I'm getting people involved all around the world, actually. So we've got I've got a guitarist in Serbia who does an amazing job on a lot of the licks that we're putting in the songs, and I'm sort of just pulling people in from everywhere who and giving them the opportunity, I guess, bringing it all together to create the sound that is coming out. And I typically write and record the songs and give it direction around what I want in the song, and then I'm able to bring, and that's what I guess the world can do now. We can bring people from everywhere, and they can get involved in recording and helping bring the songs to life. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Here I am in Conway, Arkansas. I'm talking to Jason Penna all the way in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, and you can record with other artists that are not even in your country. They send you their guitar licks, their drum beats, their bass lines, their keyboards, and whatever instruments that they need. They send them to you, and are you mixing them down yourself, or do you have a studio technician that does that for you, or how's that working?
Yeah. So I've got a studio here in Tall Poppy Productions in Brisbane. That's so once we get all the tracks down, we go into the studio and we then spend a good couple of days recording the vocals and mixing the tracks together and playing around with it to get exactly what we want, and then that then produces the final product. So it's definitely studio time here, and that enables us to get the end result that we're sort of after. Yeah.
That is amazing. So how do you get to the people? Say you have a drummer, and I'm not sure where your drummer is at, and how do you get the style of drum beat that you want from this person?
I believe that music's very once you've got the core, what they call the scratch track down, which is typically me playing the song on guitar, singing it, a good version of that, out to the musician, whether it's the drummer, the bassist, a lead guitarist, or the keyboardist. They pick up the feel for the song relatively quick. A studio musician, a really good musician, can listen to the song and go, yep, I know exactly what I want to do there. I know what fill I want to put in. I know what licks I want to put on the guitar there, and that comes from the feeling that the song gives you, and obviously the beat, the beats per minute, which is important. They've got to know what they're playing to. A click track's really important, so that there is a consistent beat that the musicians know that they've got to play to, so they don't go off and create something completely different, which normally they don't, because it's they have the feeling from the song that they then are able to build their own interpretation around, which to me adds the most value, is when nobody's definitely nobody's perfect. And, you know, I love the structure that I give my songs and the lyrics and the direction I want to take them, but I leave it open to interpretation for each of the musicians to be able to say, and add their own, unique style to those instruments as well.
You're teaching me, Jason Penna, the new way of making music in this modern time. Scratch track. That's a new term that I've just learned, where you play a demo of the song yourself, and then you send it out to various musicians, and they add their parts of the music. They give you their parts, and then you mix them all down in a separate studio. That is amazing to me. You don't even have to have all the musicians together in one studio. So the time of having all the Beatles go to Abbey Road and record all the music themselves in one room, is that gone? Is that over?
No, by no means. That's that's a beautiful and will always be, and I can't speak for any of those that style. And I will create music like that as well. It's just that right here, right now, this style works for me, and this is just another tool for the toolbox. It's just another way to do it, and there's millions of ways to do it out there. Some people sit in their room and they know how to use software. They know how to use Pro Tools. They can do the instruments. They can use electric drums. They can use all of these. There's so many tools now out there available for musicians to be able to create music at whatever style that is, whether it's hip hop, metal, rap. It's just another way to do it, and definitely I don't think you can ever get past that, the sweat, the rawness of everybody being in the room and putting down tracks. That's hopefully that will never leave us. But at this point in time, this is the way I have the opportunity to do it, and this is what I'm using to bring it together. Because if I didn't have this, then where do you find the time to do it? I just believe you've got to take every opportunity and tools you've got available to you to create and do what you love, and whatever that is, use it to its fullest, your advantage.
Oh, you're giving me gems, Jason Penna. You're giving me pearls of wisdom. I had no idea that you can record music outside of a studio, where I guess they're recording in their own studios or in their own rooms and putting it down into a digital form and then sending it to you by internet, email maybe. And this is it's something that's I had not even imagined could happen. And yeah, now here in this internet age, the whole world is coming together, and you can get that's great. I'm without words. And Jason Penna, you brought it to me, and you're making beautiful music using musicians from all over the world. So give shout outs to all your studio musicians that have helped you on this album, and even your producer, of course. Let the people know who they were that helped you, Jason Penna.
Absolutely. So when my album comes out, I'll include them all on there, and we can. I've got to get permission, obviously, from them that they're happy for me to do that. And once they say, yeah, please do it, then by all means, I'll share the love, because it's their art that I'm helping share as well. Yeah. Oh,
fantastic, Jason Penna. Now, all right, are there any other extracurriculars? Any other thoughts that you have that you want to share with the people as we round this out, I suppose? Man, all the way from Brisbane, Australia. Now, just so you know, you're the first official, I started this podcast, this version of the podcast just this year, and you're the first person outside of the United States. So I'm very excited to have you, Jason Penna of Jason Penna Music, and bring your music to, hey, my little part of the world. Hopefully it gets you that many more listeners. But is there any other pearls of wisdom that you want to impart with the people?
Thank you, Dan. It's been a great experience, and it's being able to reach out to you and get included on your podcast was great. I mean, when you say, yep, come on board. That's to me, that's it's exciting for me to be able to get involved as well. So thank you. Just if anyone wants to check out my music, I'm on Spotify, I'm on iTunes, I'm on Amazon, so it's all there. Just go and search me up, and if you like what you hear, then please jump onto Facebook. I've got a page there, and at the moment releasing a new song every week, I'm getting a lot of response, and it's going really good. So, but yeah, hopefully, if you've got anybody who wants to hear some new tunes, then please put them on to me. Yeah, happy for them to share my music.
Well, I'll definitely put in the show notes, jasonpenna.com and your Facebook and your Instagram. Make sure that people know where to follow you and find out more about Jason Penna's music. And are you performing in any shows coming up soon at all?
Once we've got the first, we've got 15 songs to record. So once they're all recorded and we've got those lined up, we'll sit down and map out what we'll be doing from a touring point of view, and probably the north coast of Queensland, where will be a first point of call, and then down through New South Wales and into Victoria and Melbourne. Obviously Melbourne's one of the capitals for music in Australia, so it'll be great to get down there and play, and then maybe over to Perth in Western Australia. So yeah.
Hey, if you thought there wasn't a reason to go to Australia, there's one more reason to go to Australia. Go visit with Jason Penna and visit with him in Brisbane and check out his Australian tour as he goes from there and beyond. Your music is going out to the world and Spotify and iTunes, and yeah, I'm so excited for you, Jason Penna, and I'm so glad that you came on board to chit chat with me on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Now, I've been in radio since 1986, so I've done a lot of interviews, but this podcast thing is it's wonderful. I like having conversations with people, and I've learned quite a bit about you and about how music is made these days. I had no idea. I have no idea where these conversations are going to go, and I'm so glad that we connected, that we got together and we're chit chatting on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Jason Penna of Jason Penna Music out there in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Dan, it's been great being on the show, and keen to now. I'll share it with all my listeners as well. So please let me know where I can where we can grab the podcast for all my listeners as well. So so I can spread your muse, and we can follow you as you interview a lot more worldwide, and maybe I can get you onto my Serbian guitarist. He might be keen for an interview as well.
Fantastic. That'd be great. Well, yeah, you can find me at #WhatMakesYouFamous. That's the easiest thing. And I'll have this podcast put up probably within the hour. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from you, Jason Penna, and I'll send you all the links, and I'll make sure I put all the links on the show notes. I'm so happy to talk to you. Any last words for the people?
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to my music, and hope to all one day see you on the road somewhere.
Thank you, Jason Penna. Until the next time.
Thanks, Keith. Cheers.
Well, there you have it, party people. Oh, so excited to talk to Jason Penna, Jason Penna Music, jasonpenna.com. Jason Penna, check him out everywhere, anywhere. It's in the blood. If you're a country music singer, if you're any kind of an artist, you're going to pass that to your children. You are. It's going to happen. I guess I danced when I was younger, so I passed that on to my child. She's a dancer, so that's what happened. Yeah. I fully believe that. So, I don't know why I just thought of that. Yeah. So Jason Penna, mom's a country singer. You're a country singer. I love it. I love it. And, ever forward, Jason Penna. I hope the whole world knows your name and your music gets out there, and your inspiration comes from everywhere. I mean, it could be just a chance meeting of someone when you were younger, or a tragedy. You never know where inspiration is going to come from, but keep getting inspired. Find those muses everywhere. Put those songs out. I know you have 15 songs to record. Get to work. It's time to record those songs and then bring them to the people of Australia and beyond. So excited to know more, to hear more from Jason Penna. Thank you so much for being on the program, What Makes You Famous. If you want to tell your story on the What Makes You Famous podcast, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this installment of the What Makes You Famous podcast. It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. Since its launch in 1981, the song Memory of the musical Cats has been played on radio more than 1 million times. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, RadioWhat.com.
Be on Radio What. Call 501-470-6386. Say your name, where you're from, and you're listening to What? The music you want is on RadioWhat.com.